It is get your guys season, and I got a lot of my guys in this draft. So I want to do a quick breakdown of it on DraftKings. I am a DraftKings partner this week for DraftKings Best Ball Week. By the way, they are sponsoring this video, and they have a lot of great offers going on this week, including one that I want to tell you about right now. So I'm going to start by rolling that clip before we get into this draft. Football season is right around the corner, and there's no better way to lock in your fantasy dominance early than with Best Ball on DraftKings, where you draft once and ride your roster all season long. And right now, DraftKings is giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $15 million Best Ball contest for just $20, and you'll score another Best Ball ticket to play free for a share of $15 million, giving you a second shot to win big. It's easy. Just draft your team once, no weekly management required, and let your top scorers automatically start each week. Across the whole season, every breakout star, every clutch play, every touchdown will count toward your quest for a share of $15 million. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now to draft your $20 Best Ball lineup and get a second ticket to play free for a share of $15 million. That's two chances to win big without ever setting your lineup again. Draft one, get one. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. All right, so we're starting from the 5-hole. I go Bijan Robinson. Not going to get into the reasoning there. Pretty straightforward. I mix up my picks in the first round. I like Bijan quite a bit. Second round, Brock Bowers comes all the way back to me at pick 20. I love Brock Bowers at pick 20. Again, I think there's nothing stopping Brock Bowers from getting 120, 130 receptions this year. I think 100 is a lock as long as he stays healthy. So I love Brock Bowers. Could just really separate at the tight end position this year. Third round, got a little fall on T. Higgins. I was, needing a wide receiver here. Really happy to get that fall on T. Higgins. Fits the build nicely with Bijan and Brock Bowers. No real explanation needed there. Fourth round, it's a little bit interesting because I could have gone for Joe Burrow here because I have T. Higgins there. Wouldn't have minded getting Burrow here, but I'm really high on Omarion Hampton. He is a player that I think I'm higher on than most, so I would consider Omarion Hampton to be one of my guys this year. Just goes to the Chargers. They have a great offensive line, one of the top offensive lines in all of football. They drafted him high. I think they're going to use Omarion Hampton quite a bit. I know I've had the conversation several times about Greg Roman offenses not throwing to running backs often, which could be, a concern on a full PPR site like DraftKings. I'm hopeful that he's just a big enough talent that maybe he breaks the mold there and is more involved in the passing game than we're expecting. But even if he's not, I think he's just going to win the bulk of the carries there in Los Angeles. I know Najee Harris is there. I think Omarion Hampton is maybe just the better talent. So I think that he has upside to get those 100-yard bonus games, score a lot of touchdowns, just a lot going for him there in Los Angeles. And now we've got the Najee Harris eye situation. I don't know what to make of it. None of us really do at this point. I think Najee probably is there to start the year. It's probably not a big deal ultimately, but it does give Omarion Hampton a little bit more time right now to kind of prove himself, to prove that he can excel in this offense. So I'm happy to get Omarion Hampton at 44. I'm sometimes willing to take him at the 3-4 turn and just bet that talent wins out there, that maybe he's a little bit more involved in the passing game than we're expecting. And regardless, they just want to run the ball quite a bit there. So really happy to get Omarion Hampton at 44. Unfortunately, Joe Burrow did not make it back to me in the next round. Came very close to getting a fifth round Joe Burrow with my T. Higgins stack. Didn't get him here, but Ted McMillan is another guy that I kind of consider to be one of my guys on DraftKings. You get him to fall pretty significantly here. In the fifth round, pick 53. I think he's just another guy who could see a ton of targets there in Carolina. Yes, Adam Thielen is still there. Adam Thielen's obviously aging. He's getting up there in years in NFL experience. At this point, I just don't really think he's going to hold off Ted McMillan. They drafted him early in the first round. I think Carolina is expecting big things from Ted. Xavier Legette was not that great last year. If you look at his yards per route run, just didn't really stand out there. Jalen Coker, he's okay. Jatavian Sanders, just there's nobody really standing in Ted's way to immediately step in there in Carolina and be the guy who sees double-digit targets in many games this season. So if he's falling here on a full PPR site like DraftKings, I think Ted McMillan is just a fantastic pick. Maybe not as sexy on a half PPR site, on non-PPR platforms. Maybe Ted not quite as great because I'm not expecting Carolina to score a ton this year, but I think he's going to rack up PPR volume. So to get him in the fifth round feels really good. And who knows, Carolina may take a step forward this year as well. So I'm happy to get Ted in the fifth round. Chris Olave in the sixth, just betting on talent. not anybody that I really preferred over him there. So even in an offense that I'm not expecting to be great, I think Chris Olave is just going to rack up volume again, just getting these PPR points, racking up there. Hopefully Tyler Shuck can find him there. And even if the offense isn't great, I think Olave could be in for a big season. Jordan Addison, we all know I love the Vikings. He fell a little bit here to pick 77. Just a strong value there for Jordan Addison, talented receiver in Minnesota. Betting on another rookie here in Emeka Egbuka, just kind of this is his ADP. I don't feel that strongly about Egbuka where he goes. I think that he's a talented rookie. I think he's just going to beat out Jalen McMillan. Chris Godwin could start the season hurt. He should have a role there throughout the year. So just like the ADP value there, where I didn't start with wide receivers early, so I need to make up some ground. Egbuka, a fine pick here for me. Jaden Higgins, I would say, is one of my guys. Picked early in the second round. All of this controversy going on right now with second rounders holding out is because Jaden Higgins got a guaranteed contract there for the Texans. They took him early in the second round. They believe in the talent clearly. I think he was the fifth receiver off the board this year, including Travis Hunter as a wide receiver there. Just a talented guy. Moves into Houston where there is gaping hole for him to just step in as a wide receiver to their opposite Nico Collins. He's a big dude. I think I saw a comp for him pre-draft was Nico Collins, who obviously has excelled there in Houston. I think Nico could be in for a huge year. Jaden Higgins can also be in for a huge rookie season this year with CJ Stroud. I don't think the offensive line is going to be great, but it can't be any worse than it was last year. At least I don't think it can be any worse than it was last year. So I think this could be a big year for Jaden Higgins as a rookie. JJ McCarthy is my guy. He's clearly one of my guys this season. Vikings quarterback. We've seen the Vikings go through tons of quarterbacks over the past few years with Kevin O'Connell as the head coach, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson as the weapons. They just bring in any quarterback they bring into Minnesota succeeds. Kirk Cousins, amazing in Minnesota. He leaves Minnesota, goes to Atlanta, loses the job his first year there after being great in Minnesota. Sam Darnold came into Minnesota as somebody that we kind of thought, yeah, he's kind of backup caliber as a quarterback, not somebody you can really rely on. He was in the MVP conversation late in the season. Everybody they threw at the Vikings has succeeded at the quarterback position. Now they bring in a rookie who the Vikings went out and got. They traded up to get JJ McCarthy. They clearly believe in the talent. He doesn't need to be great to really excel in Minnesota. They play in a dome. The offensive line has been improved greatly through the draft, through signings. I'm really excited about what this offense is going to look like this year. And that's not even expecting JJ McCarthy to be an awesome rookie. I'm not expecting him to be a top 5 quarterback coming in, but if he's, as far as talent goes, top half of the league, I think he can be a top 10 fantasy quarterback this year. So anytime I can get him here at pick 116, love to do that with JJ McCarthy when I have him stacked up. I'm not going to take him if he's not stacked up, but since I have Jordan Addison, really happy to get JJ McCarthy as my quarterback one here. Cam Skattebo at 125, just love the value, the value there for Cam Skattebo. I think he is potentially going to have a lot of work as a rookie, just working with Tyrone Tracy there. I'm not too concerned about Devin Singletary. Maybe I should be more concerned about Devin Singletary than I am, but I think it's mostly going to be the Skattebo and Tyrone Tracy show there in New York. I think Devin Singletary lost the job last year, and clearly the Giants went out and got Skattebo. I think he is going to work well with Tyrone Tracy. Also, bring back for the Brock Bowers early pick, so kind of a mini game stack there with Bowers and Skattebo. Bryce Young, again, I have Tet McMillan. Bryce Young ran quite a bit late in the year last year, kind of showed off some talent. I think he's pretty nice value right now on DraftKings. Get him at pick 140 here. Anytime I have Tet McMillan, I want to target Bryce Young in this range. Even if I don't sometimes, I'll just go after a late Jatavian Sanders. We talked about Adam Thielen earlier. I think he's a fine value in this range. So happy to take Bryce Young in this range, but especially if I have if I have Tet McMillan, really happy to get Bryce Young. Throw on Geno Smith. Again, I think a pretty strong value. Has been a really good quarterback in recent years. Maybe really good is an exaggeration, but he's been a pretty good quarterback in recent years. I've already got Brock Bowers on this team, and he goes as one of the latest starting quarterbacks off the board on an offense that I think is ascending. So I think I'm pretty happy with this trio: JJ McCarthy, Bryce Young, and Geno Smith. Dylan Sampson. Now this is Quinjon Judkins in legal trouble right now. We don't really know what to expect there, but it's a possibility that he's going to be suspended for the start of the year, maybe up to like 6 games. If he is, he might just kind of lose favor there in Cleveland. Dylan Sampson might just be able to beat him out. The only other competition for any time that Quinton Judkins misses is going to be Jerome Ford, and Dylan Sampson, I think, can compete pretty well with Jerome Ford. But it was not spectacular last year, not terrible. He probably will be splitting carries regardless. I mean, everybody is in the NFL, but I think Dylan Sampson can carve out a big role there, and now I get him here at pick 164. Now it's possible that Quinton Judkins does not miss any time, but regardless, like we're in a range of the draft here that I'm not really missing out on much by taking Dylan Sampson at 164. I think the upside outweighs the downside for Dylan Sampson in this range. In the 15th round, Josh Palmer. I made a big bet on Josh Palmer last year. He didn't really do much in terms of actual productivity, but he continued to be great in terms of separation score. If you watch the games, there were games where he was really close to having massive games. They just kept on holding him. There was a game where I think he would have had 2 touchdowns if not for pass interference calls, or at least that's what I'm telling myself, is they would have been touchdowns. Would have had opportunities for end zone targets if not for being held in the end zone. I think he could have had a much bigger year than he had last year. Goes from a good offense to a good offense. Came from the Chargers, but now he's going to Josh Allen in Buffalo. I think he could take a big step this year. I'm not talking like he's going to make a huge step like Nico Collins did a few years ago, but I think he could be in for a solid season for a 15th round pick. So love getting Josh Palmer here on a team where I think 3 of my first 6 wide receivers were rookies. So just need some vets here. DeAndre Hopkins, another vet who I think is just has the upside to have 8 touchdowns this season. Who knows how involved he's going to be there in Baltimore, but I think there's an opening there for DeAndre Hopkins to step in and have a bit of a role and be kind of an end zone target. So happy to get DeAndre Hopkins added to the team. Jatavian Sanders, just a late round tight end target that I like. I've got Bryce Young on the team already. He makes sense for this team. There's a lot of late round tight ends that I kind of mix in there, but Jatavian Sanders is one that I kind of like for where he goes in drafts. Taj Brooks, just a rookie who I think has some upside. Chase Brown is clearly ahead of him. I don't think Taj Brooks is going to have a ton of standalone value. It's mostly just a contingency bet on Taj Brooks. If anything were to happen to Chase Brown, I think Taj Brooks could step in and take on a big role there in Cincinnati. Not really too concerned about any of the other running backs outside of Chase Brown on Cincinnati. So I think he could step in and immediately be the running back 2. Maybe have a little bit of work with Chase Brown there. But then again, in any game scripts where there is a blowout, maybe he could come in. And of course, if any injury to Chase Brown, Taj Brooks would look awesome. So happy to get him here late 18th round. He's also a player that has only been drafted in something like 35% of drafts so far on DraftKings as of June 27th. So kind of get a lower owned player there in Taj Brooks. Harold Fannin, again, a player that's not drafted in every draft. Again, I think around 35% of DraftKings drafts so far. Get him here in the 19th round. Don't really, not counting on him because I have Brock Bowers on the team. I've already got Jatavian Sanders as a tight end too. So just taking that home run swing on Harold Fannin feels good here in the 19th round. And then finally, a big home run swing in the 20th round. It's a beautiful thing you can do on DraftKings with 20 rounds is really take shots on guys who you don't need much from, but they might have some upside. Isaiah Davis, I think, was actually pretty good last year for the Jets. If anything were to happen with Breece Hall, I think Isaiah Davis could earn a bigger role. I don't think, he's got 2 running backs ahead of him with Braylon Allen and Breece Hall, which is why Isaiah Davis so far drafted in fewer than 5% of drafts on DraftKings. So it's just a guy that I think has some talent, already earned a bit of a role last year with both Breece Hall and Braylon Allen healthy. And I think if either of them were to get injured, he would just step into a bigger role and maybe be able to earn some work there for the Jets. So happy to add him at the end. It's a pretty regular build overall. It's a 3-6-8-3. But I got a lot of players that I really liked in this one. Felt good about how the team came together. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Did I take too many swings late, or did I land the plane here? Let me know what you think.